Okay, thanks everyone for joining today. This is going to be a presentation about the Water Funds Network Annual Survey. We do the survey every year. Usually we do it in March, but this year we actually completed it in the fall. So results are pretty recent, which is nice to share with you. And this recording will be shared with others on the network and also posted on the new Water Funds Toolbox site. At the end of the call, I'll also have an opportunity for announcements and obviously questions about the PowerPoint presentation that I'll go through now. Just to confirm, can someone unmute their line and let me know that they can A, hear me, and B, see my screen?
I'm able to hear and see.
Yes.
Awesome, thanks guys. And if it's all right, I'll ask that you hold your questions to the end. I mean, feel free to barge in if there's something urgent you want to ask, but otherwise I'll ask you hold your questions to the end, or you can send them in the chat so that I can look through. If you don't want to forget, you can write it down there, and then I'll go through those at the end of the presentation. All right, great. So, as mentioned, this is the 2018 survey results, and just for clarification, this is the survey that we've asked all of the Water Funds Network members. So it's not necessarily a survey about, each water fund that the Nature Conservancy and partners are being a part of. It's really just about the diversity and the connection of members. So let's get started. So just to take a look at what the survey was able to accomplish, we had 108 internal members participate, and this was also the first year that we expanded our network to external members, so non-TNC staff. And it was a separate survey, but with similar questions. And so we had 26 external members participate in that. So 134 folks from all over the world. And we focused quite a bit on, where we work, areas of expertise, and areas where members need support. We looked at what members are targeting in their work, whether it's water issues, conservation activities, co-benefits. We looked at the number of connections between members and also asked members about what components of the Water Funds network that they most utilize, enjoy, or would like to see developed further. So just a little bit of history. We did the first survey back in 2014. We had 120 members at that time, and about half of them participated in the survey. That's been pretty consistent over the years, half of our members doing the survey. This year, you'll see 2018 was pretty interesting since we had the external component. But if you ignore that and just looked at the 233 members at the time, 108 of them participated. And when I share this PowerPoint at the end after the call, you'll be able to go in, and if you're interested in seeing the results from past surveys, you'll be able to access all of those here on this slide. Okay, so starting off with a regional distribution, this is where our members that participated in the survey are located or where their work is focused on. And this would be the first time that Europe has been a part of this. So if I go to looking at the history of where our members have been located that participated in the survey, this is we only started asking that question in 2015, but this is looking at over time. So Europe isn't on here since it was just the one dot, and this is the first year that we have Europe participation. Okay, so looking at areas where members have expertise. So if hopefully those on the call participated in the survey, you'll remember there was a whole bunch of elements to your work that you might have expertise, and you can click, you select all that apply that you feel like you have experience in, and then all the areas where, wow, it'd be really useful if I had someone on my team that had that experience. And you can also be both, like, oh, I have great project management experience, but honestly, our team still needs more project management. So the next two slides are looking at that. And so as you can see, project management and conservation implementation are the leading categories where members have a lot of expertise. I was very excited to see, climate change adaptation on here, as well as mitigation just made the cut. And if we go to the next slide, these are all the areas where more members selected they need support with versus the number of members that selected I have experience in. So economic analysis and financial analysis and business case, fundraising, a lot of I feel like the money components to water funds and water funds work are elements that really stand out. So these are the gaps that we can look to help fill over the next year for the network, and help members, get support in these components. So this is looking at which conservation activities and efforts are being done by the water fund. So we had, of the internal people that did this survey, 24 individuals skipped the question, which is totally fine since a lot of our members might be specifically around, communications or marketing. They might not actually be working directly on a water fund. So just keep that in mind. But this is a good representation of what kind of work we're doing. And again, just as a reminder, this isn't for individual water funds. This is a representation of our members. Oh, and for other, that included invasive species management, canal infiltration, small water dams, water leases for environmental flows, reinstating natural flow and flooding regimes, and a whole list of others. There's 21 of them, and happy to go over those additionally at the end if folks want that full list, but you'll also be able to see that in the notes portion when I send around this PowerPoint. Okay, so the same question. This is just looking at what those conservation activities, how our experience and where that work is done over time. So you'll notice that there's a couple from the previous slide that, let me go back, that are actually not on the next slide over time because we added those in just for this year. So those are environmental education, cattle fencing, and capacity building. So it's great to see too, how much this has changed. And just as a note, we did have, last year we had 113 members participate, and as I mentioned, internal members, and this year only 108 internal members. So some of the numbers that might seem slightly lower, that's also just about how many people participated. Okay, looking at co-benefits. So we also asked the question, what co-benefits other than water security are you anticipating, measuring, or expecting from the water fund? And again, given my area of climate change interest, I was very excited to see that climate change resiliency was by far the most selected, and interested to follow up with members that selected that and hear more about how their water fund is addressing this, or how they're seeing this co-benefit out of their water fund. Okay, so my favorite part of analyzing all the data, looking at all members' answers and connections, is generating these spiderweb diagrams. So what you're looking at here is every member that participated in the survey or selected the name of a member, even if that member didn't participate in the survey. So I have a total count of how many connections each person has. And the size of the dot is by how many connections, and the colors are representing the different regions where we work, and there's also the names on individuals that you can zoom in on, and then also the dispersity. So you'll notice that a lot of our Latin America colleagues work really closely together, where our North America colleagues in red are more dispersed in comparison. And then if for Asia Pacific, these sort of aqua green dots way out here, it's clear that they're the most isolated. So just a quick zooming in. So this is filtering out just the individuals that have the most connections. So you can get a glimpse of who the key people are, sort of linking everybody in the network. And what's really cool, again, I'll send this PowerPoint around. Down here, if you click on this link, you're taken to the site where all of this membership connectivity is recorded. And what's really fun here is that you can actually, play around with the data a little bit. And in addition to that, I added everyone's expertise and area of support needs into the Kumu tool. So if you go to filter, and if you deselect all the elements, which are basically everyone's name, and you type in what area of expertise you want to filter by, which, just so you know, is called tag. My apologies, it's not called something more useful like expertise. But if you say tag is, and then input an area of expertise such as policy, then the map will generate a figure that shows members that selected policy as an area of expertise and in what ways they're connected. And likewise, you can also do tag to, which means these individuals selected this area as an area where they need more support. So, for example, you can type in climate change mitigation, and the map will generate everybody that selected climate change mitigation as an area in their work where they feel they could use support. So this is a great way to figure out which other members are like you and are requesting the same types of information, or if you're looking for somebody that has expertise in a certain area, this is a very easy way to sort through and find out who those individuals are. And don't worry about playing around with the data too much. You won't miss any of the original formatting, and you can always just click revert down here to go back to how it was. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. All right, so we've done these spider webs over time, and this slide is showing sort of how that level of connectivity has changed over the years. So, average number of connections in 2014 was about 9. So, average member had about 9 connections when it comes to water funds, and now we're looking closer to 16 members. This also is showing how that's changed percentage-wise over time. And it'll be interesting as the years go ahead. So it's, again, the first time that we've had external members. We now have 100 external members, and it'll be great to look at the connectivity between that as we go on. All right, so this is just looking at who we work with, not who specifically, but how many people we work directly with. So it's just an average number of how many people you work with directly on water funds. And we've asked this question for the last 4 years, and what's just becoming pretty clear is that over the last 4 years, we're working less and less with just, 1 to 4 colleagues. So originally that was the majority was between 1 and 4 colleagues, and now we're working with a lot more colleagues today, which is just interesting to think about, as water funds grow, as our teams grow, and how we work with each other becomes more and more, which is a good sign. Okay, so the last component of this presentation is looking at the types of activities that the Water Funds Network provides and which ones you have to rank these in order of the most important to you. So it's great to see the Water Funds Toolbox is the most important to members. And what was interesting to see is in-person meetings. And that's something that we want to really bring out this year in 2019 is having a network, Water Funds Network in-person meeting, most likely coinciding at another event, and having actually members really get together and get to meet each other in person and do some knowledge exchange and all of that. So I'll be working with the steering committee early in the new year to figure out what that might look like. Water funds training, again, I feel like it goes hand in hand with the toolbox, but really nice to see that as an element of being really important. Webinars are good, so we can go down the list. And, interesting to see down here, friendly network-wide competitions and prizes. For example, the Waterfronts Network Olympics that we've done every other year. We've only done it twice, but that doesn't seem to be a priority. So while in 2019 it's not a Waterfronts Network Olympics year, we'll want to look at what this level stands when we do the survey in 2019 to see if, that friendly competition is worthwhile in 2020. Waterfront Network Workplace, not a huge surprise that it's not of importance, but I'm hoping that will change since it is important for the network to have some sort of platform where members can ask each other questions and share opportunities and knowledge and work on projects together. So whether that's workplace or something else in the future, we still need to build that out. So the same question was asked to external members. So this is what external members selected, which is pretty similar to what our internal members selected, which is at least there's some of that consistency, which is great to see.